We cover this chapter through a series of questions and answers. Who was the first Portuguese to come to India? Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese seafarer, reached the port of Calicut in 1498. Once landed on the Indian coast, the Portuguese did not take long to establish themselves in India. By the beginning of the 16th century, Portuguese had brought a considerable portion of Indian coasts under their control. Why were they able to establish these colonies? The Portuguese took advantage of strained relations among various rulers in South India. They established their colonies on the west coast and built forts for their protection and used them to protect their colonies from external attacks and to reinforce them continuously with supplies by using seaways. The Portuguese naval force was very strong and they used it to launch sudden attacks on the enemy's territory from the sea and wreck it completely. The Indian local rulers could not match the Portuguese in their war tactics. What was the Cartaz? The Cartaz was a license. Once the Portuguese had established their firm control on the Indian Ocean, it became necessary for the Indian rulers to get the Cartaz from them for sailing on the Indian Ocean. If the local rulers dared to set out on the sea without a Portuguese license, the ships were either sunk or seized by force. The Portuguese had become so powerful that even the mighty Mughals and Sultanates in the south had to buy a license from them. The Cartaz usually carried details like the name of the vessel, the name of the captain of the vessel, port of departure and arrival, list of weaponry on the ship loaded for the purpose of self-defense, etc. Where in India did they establish their colonies? By 1608, the Portuguese had their colonies on the western coast of India at Diu, Daman, Chaul, Goa, Honavar, Gangoli, Basrur, Mangalore, Kannur, Kodungular, Kochi and Kollam. Similarly, on the eastern coast, they had colonies at Nagapattinam, Mylapore and Hooghly in Bengal. This stretch of the Portuguese Empire had its capital at Goa. How did they administer these colonies? The Portuguese colonies had spread from the Cape of Good Hope to Macau in China. They were all considered to be part of the Indian Empire of the Portuguese, Estado da India. There were several officers who helped manage the Estado da India. How did the Portuguese Navy prove beneficial? The Portuguese Navy was extremely powerful. Every year, 5 ships would arrive in the Indian ports. These ships were equipped with cannons. The Portuguese had shipbuilding facilities at Goa, Diu and Daman. Durable teakwood of best quality, essential for building ships, was available in these regions. The Portuguese used to deploy seamen from Portugal to India. In those times, the Indian rulers did not maintain a naval force. Therefore, they found it difficult to fight the strong naval forces of the Portuguese. What restrictions were imposed by them on the provinces and the people of India? The Portuguese banned building of any religious monument except churches in the Indian provinces under their rule. They also prohibited celebrations of religious festivals or wedding functions. The Portuguese rulers also tried to suppress the local languages. People were offered employment with the intention to attract them to Christianity. In the beginning of their rule, they made Goa a free port. That resulted in attracting traders from various countries to Goa. When was the East India Company established? The British established East India Company on 31st December 1600. Queen Elizabeth granted permission to the company to trade in the eastern countries. Why did the company decide to build factories? In the beginning, the East India Company's operations were limited to send their cargoes to eastern countries, to sell the British goods in those countries, to buy spices with the profits earned there and the cash carried from home, to sell the spices in England and to earn profits. The sailboats of those days needed to plan their forward and backward voyages in specific periods of the year. Therefore, to carry out trade transactions was more tedious. Under such circumstances, the British were in need of a permanent place to build warehouses to store the goods bought at low prices. The British boats used to sail from England during the months of December to April and used to return to England after a year in the month of January after completing trading transactions in India. This required that they stayed in India over a period of 9 to 13 months. Hence, the company decided to build factories. Who were factors? Factors were the staff of the factories. Staff which comprised of accountants and in charge of stores, a treasurer, clerks, cooks, etc. How did Surat become an important trading post? In the latter half of the 17th century, the company operated from Surat and Madras. The eastern coast, Odisha, Bengal in India, and other eastern countries were under the company's jurisdiction. The factories at Rajapur in Maharashtra, port city of Mocha, in the Red Sea, Basra in the Persian Gulf were all controlled by the Surat center. Hence, it became an important trading post. What other strategy did the company adopt? The company started building forts in India as part of their strategy. They built a fort and a factory in Chennai. The fort was named as Fort St. George. A mint was established in Chennai. The British issued their own coinage of gold, silver, alloys and copper from this mint. How did Mumbai come under British control? In 1661, Charles II, the King of England, was engaged to Braganza, the Princess of Portugal. The King of Portugal gifted the islands of Mumbai to Charles II on this occasion as dowry. Abraham Shipman, an Englishman, was assigned 500 soldiers and was appointed as the governor of Bombay. In 1665, Mumbai was fully under British control. Mumbai comprised 7 islands, namely Mumbai, Mahim, Paral, Wadala, Worli, Sion, and Mazgaon. Charles II leased Mumbai to the East India Company because the expenditure for its maintenance exceeded than the income earned from it. In 1669, the company appointed Sir George Oxenden as governor of Surat and commander-in-chief of Mumbai. Why did the people choose Mumbai to settle down? A British mint was established in Mumbai and coins of silver, copper and zinc were issued from there. This encouraged merchants and artisans to come and settle down in Mumbai. The company had 5 or 6 small ships and around 300 soldiers to ensure the security of Mumbai. This made people choose Mumbai to settle down. What was the United East India? In 1602, several Dutch companies came together to form a company named the United East India. By mid-17th century, where did they establish their colonies? By the middle of the 17th century, the company had established Dutch colonies and factories right from the eastern coast of Africa to Japan. It included the present-day regions of Mozambique, South Africa, Yemen, Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Siam, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Taiwan, China, Japan, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Where did the Dutch establish their first factory? The Dutch established their first factory in 1602 at Petapulli in the northern parts of the Coromandel coast. What forts did they acquire from the Portuguese? Once they defeated the Portuguese, they acquired the forts at Kochi, Kodanglur, Kannur, and Kollam. How can we conclude that the Dutch naval force was very strong? At the beginning of the 17th century, the Dutch naval force was very strong. At any given moment, they could deploy at least 20 warships and an army of 3,000 to 4,000 soldiers. The Mughal, Adil and Qutub Shahi ships were required to obtain a license from the Dutch. If any ship was launched without a license, it was seized by the Dutch. What did the French establish in 1664? In 1664, the French East India Company was established with the initiative of Jean-Baptiste Colbert, the French finance minister of King Louis XIV. The company was given authority to trade with Eastern countries, to maintain army and navy, and also exemption from taxes. The company was given the authority to enter a war or a treaty with the Eastern rulers. Where did the French establish their first factory? In 1666, the company sent a diplomatic contingent to the court of Emperor Aurangzeb and obtained permission to establish a factory in Surat. So, the first French factory in Surat was established in 1668. Where did they set up their other factories? Other French factories came up at Pondicherry, Chandranagar, Mahe, Karikal, and Machilipatnam. Why were the Karnatak Wars fought? Pondicherry was the main center of the French operations. It was ruled by the Nawab of Karnataka. The members of the Nawab's family were fighting amongst themselves for the throne. The British and the French started interfering in the matter. It resulted in 3 battles between the British and the French from 1744 to 1763 CE. These are known as the Karnatak Wars. The French were defeated by the British in the 3rd battle. With the defeat of the French, there was no European rival left in India for the British.